for International Development have been placed on administrative leave. John Voorhees and his deputy, Brian McGill, reportedly resisted efforts by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency to access classified materials without proper security clearances. In Russia's Kursk region, a deadly attack on a boarding school has led to mutual accusations between Russia and Ukraine. The incident resulted in the deaths of 4 individuals. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is scheduled to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss the recent ceasefire with Hamas, strategies to counter Iran, and the expansion of diplomatic relations with Arab nations. In Arlington, Virginia, authorities have recovered the remains of 55 out of 67 victims from a mid-air collision between an American Airlines jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter near Washington, D.C.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guests and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
No. No coffee for you. Looks like there's a problem. Have a problem.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
It's me. Hold it.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
I'm not going to say it. What's the point? Did they say anything? I don't know what to say. I'm wondering if it's up on its own voice. All right, you guys. It's probably Canadian musicians angry. Sounds like Rush, if I understand that. We're gonna see if this ends. When we say good morning, good morning. Oh, look at that! It stopped all on its own. Yeah. So, how's your life going? Is it okay? It's Tuesday, right? Is it Tuesday? Where's my calendar? Yes, it's Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. Time just keep rolling on. Last night, Steven's premiere went really well. It was kind of dark, just like and quiet, like pretty much a black screen for most of the program, but I enjoyed it. It's postponed until next week. Steven had the I don't know, pedo flu or something. He got arrested, chasing little kids, asking for sex, lollipop, something. So it'll be next Monday. You know, a light sentence, smack on the wrist. Don't fuck any more kids, something like that. I don't know. I'm lying. You know I'm lying. What else would it wouldn't be Tuesday if I wasn't lying? Well, it could be Monday or Wednesday or Thursday, maybe Friday. I never lie on Sunday. So the trade wars are kicking in. Trade wars. Good old trade wars. And I'm curious. Obviously, Trump backed down from the Mexican thing because he's a big fan of tacos. I don't know. But I'm confused why Mexico and Canada got 25% and China 10%. Like, I thought China was the big enemy, the big problem. China, not Mexico and Canada. But so now China is hitting back with their own tariffs. pretty soon we'll be in full trade war, Great Depression coming. I've already got mine ready to go. I've been actually running the preview trailers for the Great Depression in my mind for about, oh, look at that. We're all locked up over there. What's going on with that machine? We need new equipment here. On the bright side, had a very interesting conversation with Abby Russell from Sticks and Stones. And you know what? I should look up who's going to be at Sticks and Stones this weekend so I could tell you about that. But big things happen in Sticks and Stones, and we're going to be involved in it as long as we're alive, as long as the show remains on the air, which could be another 45 minutes or so, and then we'll be, no, not even. We're not going to make it. I'm probably going to have a stroke and die here today. Today's show is about wedding speech disasters, wedding vow disasters, wedding disasters, just general disasters. Ugly bride disasters, groom. Well, we don't know what the groom might have done to the bridal party. That's a whole other story, and I apologize for that. I did, and as best man, often I was the best man, even though I wasn't selected to be the best man. I always knew I was the best man. I would like give some speeches, but I have pubic hair in my mouth. Hey, you never know. Your breakfast, you know what I'm saying? I don't sleep well. Plus, I have mini strokes every day, so this explains who I am and why I'm such an idiot. But what was I? Oh yeah, wedding. I have the ultimate wedding disaster. And I've talked about it before on this program, and I'll probably talk about it again. I might ib it a few times here today. In the meantime, while we get ready to say hello to disasters, the three disasters I like to call them. I don't like to call them anything. Let's just remind ourselves to get high down.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Now I say, ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me right now. Well, actually, not in the room right now. You see Stephen the Invisible Ortiz, Stephen the Invisible Sitcom Ortiz. For some reason, he's see-through. Maybe that's part of his new program that he just launched yesterday called Beyond Classified, which did not launch. So he's here with us. I think he's here with us, but it's just hard to see. And also, Ron, I don't fucking care about your wedding vows, Kane. And GD, Henderson.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Trump's been in office for 15 days, and there have been 4 aviation disasters under his watch. 3 with fatalities. Don't let another plane go down without that special X someone on it. Book their seat now. MindDogTV.com/booking. Enjoy the suffering and support your local mercenaries.
You say 4. I'm way behind. I'm behind in my aircraft aviation disaster. What did I miss? Was there another one last night? Well, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if there's another one last night, but I thought there was 4. I was counting them in my head.
Oh, I thought there were only 2. The one in DC and one in Philadelphia. There was another one.
Let's see. There was
another 2.
there was an Airbus. The wing caught on fire, but there were no fatalities from that one.
This is what buses are not meant to fly. This is the problem. You're not supposed to fly a bus. Would it go off a cliff? I mean, that's going to be a disaster. I could have told you that. You don't need a wedding vow speechwriter to tell you don't drive the bus off the cliff.
Well, the point is that there's going to be more disasters, and don't let them go to waste. If you got someone you want to get rid of, book them onto the flight now. Okay, and you can do that through minddogtv.com/booking.
Right. Do you know what happened? Does anybody have an idea what might be happening to Steven? Is it?
I think he's got strep, or his wheelchair has strep.
Definitely.
He probably just talking to his kids or talking about taking his kids to
Minucci's.
Yeah, Minucci's.
Right.
Making reservations.
Last time I went to Minucci's, they got a kid meal, and the meal came with a kid, so I'm not going back.
Yeah, but was the kid prepared nicely? Tender, marbled?
No, it was well done. I prefer white meat.
Now, we'll start with Ron because he's been married to one woman for 87 years, and I just want to know: did you write your own vows? Were you one of them hippies who wrote their own vows? No, you just went standard vows. Justice of the peace or minister? What'd you do?
We got married in Vegas, so
Elvis. Elvis married you. I came in a fever. We got married. I was expecting in a fever. We got married in a fever.
We got married in Vegas because it was a convenient trip. We already had our first kid by then, and we had been together for almost 7 years at that point. And we decided to go on that trip, and we got married while we were out there.
Was it like at one of the 5-star hotels, like, or on the strip, like off the beaten path? Where were you in Vegas?
No, we got married at the Excalibur when it was like somewhat new. Yeah, like if you go to the Excalibur now, it's just a reminder of days past of vomit and blood and things like that.
The Excalibur is part of that M group where you just take the monorail through all the Mandalay Bay and Luxor and all those. It's the same ownership. It's the same mob.
Yeah.
Wow.
Except now the mob is bigger out there because those hotels look terrible, and now they've built all these like fancy ones right next to them, and it's Vegas.
Like if you go out to Vegas, you probably catch some of these wedding vow disasters or wedding speech disasters. Because you're going to get a lot of drunk people, just thinking there's a lot of spur of the moment weddings in Vegas. Hey, let's get married. It sounds like a good idea. I don't know. That could be a mistake. Well, congratulations for being one of the few from Vegas that actually is a real wedding. Steven, did you write your own vows, Steven? You're second longest, right? I think maybe GD's longer. I don't know about that one.
GD might be second longest, but no, we didn't write our own vows, but kind of just gave funny answers to the vows.
Yeah. Now I know that GD wrote his own vows, and here I have them here. It's like, good morning, America. What's it?
Wedding day, America. Are you getting married today? Are you scared that you're making the biggest mistake of your life? Well, don't worry. Divorce lawyers are available at minddogtv.com. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Wait, that's way too smooth. He would be, good morning, America. Did you wait, what did I write there? That was his vows. Right, GD? Or I'm just fucking, I'm in trouble now. You're mad at me. You hate me.
Not mad.
No. Did you write your own vows?
My wife and I both wrote our own vows. Yeah.
Did it go smoothly?
Mine went very smoothly because mine was only like 90 seconds long, maybe 2 minutes. It was a poem that I wrote for her.
Oh, a poem by Henry Gibson. Did you have a flower in your hand?
I had a boot. What's it called? Is that called a boutonniere? The little tiny man flower on your vest or lapel? But I didn't really have a lapel. I was wearing like some hippy dippy cotton leisure suit thing.
Of course you were.
See, now when I got married, it was by it was supposed to be by a minister. He went to the Giant Bengals game in New Jersey and got caught in traffic, and wrote to me he wasn't going to be able to make it, but he was sending Danny, the intern from the church. Danny was a kid with a bone in his nose, a literal bone in his nose, like he's from a tribe in South America or something, a bone in his nose. And he was never done a wedding before. He actually wasn't very good at reading. So I had to tell him exactly where to stand, what to say, what to do. It was very weird. Like, I'm not sure we're officially married here. He just picked some kid off the street. And he didn't know what to say. And so I still don't know what was said at my wedding. We should kind of make sure any of it was legal. That. Anyway, we're in the second hour. We have nobody in the first hour, which is so we could just talk about Stephen's big premiere last night, which was well attended by hundreds of thousands of people all across the globe. Right,
dude, it was so gross here all night. It was horrible. I didn't.
What happened? What happened? All I saw was a black screen, and I was wondering. I couldn't hear anything.
Kids were screaming, crying, like having trouble breathing, puking.
Oh,
huh?
So you were having sex again? You say kids was
no. That's the wife. No,
why were the kids crying then? If you weren't, no,
they're sick. They hurt.
Oh, I thought you made them watch you and your wife have sex.
Oh
no, that stops at like 8 months old.
It was postponed because Stephen's kids all have the bird flu. So
it's the what they say, influenza A and strep.
Oh, all right.
Along with 140 other students.
Wow, everybody got it at once. There's something going on at that school. What are they all mononucleosis?
Well, there was 100. It was 142 students and four teachers, and 2 more left that day.
Did you guys go through the big mononucleosis thing in junior high school with that? The kissing disease. Everybody.
No, I've been able to successfully avoid all STDs my whole life. So
is that I guess that does qualify as an STD, right?
And honestly, I mean, are we surprised that Stephen didn't show up, especially as a DEI hire? I mean, this is what we're talking about, folks.
Well, I tried to get on, but StreamYard said Trump said no, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, thanks for depressing me some more. I'm just I don't know. Jim Abbott. I got some woman the other night. It was because people do confuse DEI with the ADA, the American Disabilities Act, and like they're trying to make claims like if Jim Abbott, the Texas guy who's in a wheelchair, governor, if he's so against DEI, why don't we just take away the ramps at the Capitol? Like, no, the ramps are part of the ADA. That's not a DEI thing.
You think he won't sit at the corner of that desk or of his office and still not do his job like I do? Wrongo.
Yeah, but so I said, you know what, DEI, because they're trying to whitewash the fact that because so many liberals are confused about the difference between the ADA and the DEI, the right wingers are capitalizing on it. So, see, they don't know the difference, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, there is a difference between the ADA and DEI, but you're disingenuously trying to say that people like Abbott do not benefit from DEI stuff. Oh, well, how does DEI benefit Jim Abbott? I said people like Jim Abbott. Not Jim Abbott. He, whatever. I don't know his past. Maybe he was a DEI hire. He was appointed by Bush as a Texas judge before he ran for governor, and then he ran for lieutenant governor, whatever. I don't know his past, but I know that people like him benefit from DEI, and that's enough to say you shouldn't be against it because you got the same. And and then she doesn't know what's in most DEI policies about how it's not just for spicks and niggas.
Whoa, sorry, Gus.
And cunts. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Ron. No, I know that word offends you.
Yeah.
I know, Ron. I know
it's also
that
for
word
Gibbs and Crips. I think I covered it all. So now we can cancel me. All right. All right. Well, so yeah, so well, I don't know because CD called you a DEI hire. I would think of you more of a DIE hire.
I do have a list here from boardpanda.com about the 22 worst stand-up comedians who they rate as the 22 worst.
Now, they can't know the real 22 worst because nobody knows them. But the 22 most worst that people might have seen or heard is probably more like it. Nothing because I'm sure there are 22 worse at some open mic on Long Island tonight. Right?
Open mic don't count. These are professionals. Yeah, these are people that have careers.
Well,
all right, well, let's hear it. Let's go.
Let the open mic nights that they don't have careers, and they'll be really surprised.
It's like the David Letterman countdown.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Jeff Dunham, or I'm sorry, 22 is Jeff Dunham.
See, I saw some things with a stand-up comedy, and he came up, and I'm like, ventriloquism doesn't count as stand-up comedy. It's like, I don't know.
Well, I think it's a mixed bag because we have a ventriloquist that comes to our open mic, and he's not funny at all. So I agree with you mostly, but I mean, he's been making it work though for a long time.
What do you mean?
Jeff Dunham?
No.
Oh yeah, he's a millionaire, billionaire, snillionaire, trillionaire.
Ahmed the Dead Terrorist.
Yeah. Is that why he's the worst? Because or number 22 on this thing because of his race? People accuse him of being racism. Yeah, he is. You know, there's no. I don't know. Religionism. Muslim is not a race, right? Because
no, Muslim. I think. Well, isn't Muslim a practitioner of Islam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a race, is it?
No.
So,
well, but then how come Jewish is considered race?
That's different. It's both a race and a religion. It's both.
And never mind.
The Jews get everything. Anyway, back to you, Ron.
Yeah, and a union. Not a union.
So 22 is Jeff Dunham. I'm not a big fan of puppets, so that's all I'll say.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan either, honestly.
Although Otto and George may they rest in peace. One of them.
So number 23 is someone you're more familiar with, and we got Bert.
21.
21. Yeah.
That's Bert. I mean, was that like 300 pounds ago? I can't even.
Now, is he conservative or progressive? I'm just trying to figure out which ones are if they're leaning. If the people who made this list are basically saying conservatives aren't funny, or if there's going to be
this may not have a political bend.
Yeah, this is just the 22 worst stand-up comedians according to BoardPanda.com.
This one makes sense because he runs the same set. It seems like every show, same four stories.
Nobody laughed harder at Bert Kreischer's material than Bert Kreischer. He thinks he's hysterical. He really enjoys himself.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I think in my opinion, I just think Bert has hurt himself over the past couple years, especially with like everything that he's got going on with 2 bears and 1 cave, and now they're doing that 5K walk again or run or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he made a shit ton of money and still does, but
he's made a career out of playing a character that John Belushi did in Animal House. This is what he basically. That's who he is. He's Bluto.
Well, because I mean, honestly, now watching him, granted, he's successful, but if you watch just watch how he is with his alcohol and his drugs and shit, it's almost sad to watch. It's almost like watching Farley or Belushi because like all he does, he's always on something. He's always fucked up. And everyone tries to say, no, he's just a party animal. No, the dude's always fucked up. Like he seems to be always on or under the influence of something at all times.
So let me, before we go any further, this list is all millionaires who are really, really rich, got rich off of performing comedy, but they still suck. This is really demoralizing.
Well, Bert made money doing comedy, but I mean, let's be real. I think a lot of his money comes from everything else he does anymore. I wouldn't even it's almost hard to call him a comedian anymore.
Yeah, and I think we're actually being kinder to these comics than what's on the website. Let's go to number 20.
I can see.
Crystalia.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, wow.
That seems easy, honestly, because of what he went through and the whole texting underage women or whatever. So this one
He
just
jokes
seems,
about it now.
So he's a
yeah,
conservative then.
I
Probably.
gotta
Pretty
be
much.
honest. I've never bitch and moan about how he got
So-
canceled. That's all I've really seen for 5 or 6 years now straight. Every once in a while, he puts out a
Before the whole texting the minors thing, I saw the stand-up I'd seen. I thought he was funny-ish. There was some jokes that he had that really made me laugh, like the drunk girl bit, dancing at the club with the alligator. Like that's fucking hilarious. But again, overall, the dude just kind of talks about how he's a dick the whole time. That's all he does. That's his whole shtick. Is just how he's a dick to the world.
I think that's
like, okay,
my
cool.
shtick. I thought that was my shtick. Oh, well.
It's kind of like your shtick, except he just puts his weird, annoying fucking laugh after he says something. Yeah, it's fucking horrible. It's really bad.
All right, let's move on to 19, which is George Lopez.
I would have put him.
I think he's a DEI hire on that list. I don't think they've been.
I would have put him like number 5 or 6.
I can't stand being yelled at because you know what? I know it's a culture thing, but George Lopez, he just yelled. He don't, you know, and he's not like Sam Kinison or Bobcat with that kind of yelling. He's just yelling when he says hello, like everything. It's just like, what do you mean? Come on.
I have a similar issue with Kevin Hart. Like, be funny. Don't just scream everything you say and hope everyone laughs at it. Stop.
Yeah. I think again, I think it's a cultural thing. You know.
And George Lopez is getting ready to retire. I think his last special is this one is his last one. He's saying. So number 18, who do we have here? Brandon Shaw.
Shouldn't he be number 1? I can't imagine if he's 18 how bad number 1 is. Holy crap!
You know what's crazy?
I don't know his comedy at all.
I didn't even know he was a comedian until I came on this show. I thought he was just a podcaster. I had no idea he was a comedian.
He's an MMA fighter.
Oh, I knew he also dabbled in that, but like I was like, this. There's no way. There's no way he's a comedian. I've never seen his stuff. Don't really care.
He's an MMA fighter who Rogan told him, "You're done. You suck now. Don't get in another fight. You're gonna get your clock cleaned. You're gonna end up dead. Try stand-up comedy," and he did. And because he was on Rogan, he got some boost by it, and then started thinking he was a legitimate. He sucks. He's terrible. I could actually say I'm better than him.
Yeah, and a lot of people just make fun of him within the industry. It seems too. So
I've seen that a lot.
We're only 18, and we've already hit Brendan Schaub. I can't.
You know
imagine.
what's funny is the Mad TV guys, the old Mad TV alums, those guys that podcast together, they make fun of him like crazy. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
Yeah, Will. I'm not sure if you've ever seen Will Sasso's podcast with I forget his partner, but the Dudesy podcast is pretty fun.
I love dude. Will Sasso's. He was my favorite from Mad TV. I think he's fantastic. I love his impressions. So good.
Yeah, they do some fun stuff with AI on that show, and it's rather fun. So let's go up to number 17 is Whitney Cummings.
Oh,
that's not fair. I don't think she's that bad.
What?
I know.
No wonder Steven doesn't show up for his own show. He's clueless.
Yeah, I mean, Whitney can be Whitney, but she does have chops. She is funny. She got 2 TV shows on the air, and the thing with her, I feel, is that she really tries to bend to that Roganism.
Yeah,
and
he tries because, for example,
she stopped doing comedy a long time ago, and now she's one of these. I just complain about how cancel culture has fucked me over. I
don't disagree, and I think that, but she does have her moments though where she's funny. For for example, during the Tom Brady roast, she was good. She was good during the roast of 2024. I mean, and she also was pretty good at roasting Tony Hinchcliffe. So, I mean, she's got her moments. I don't think she should.
I don't know what her new
dismissed
stuff is like. I just know her old stuff. I liked her a lot. I don't know what her new stuff is like.
Her
I
new
don't.
stuff is like, poor me. They canceled me. Nobody loves me. I said something wrong. I offended people. That's her new stuff. Also, I like Bert Kreischer's dick. I like the way it tastes. That's a B moment right there. I'm sorry.
Oh, I already marked it.
Number 16, Dane Cook.
Boy, this is a brutal list, man.
Of most hated comics.
Is that a picture from when he was 16?
I didn't know that's what he looked like. I thought he looked different. Maybe I just don't remember him right.
That's a more current photo.
It is?
Yeah.
That's not the way I remember him looking at all.
Well, he lost a lot of weight.
I remember him being fat.
Oh yeah.
I could see why people hate on him because of his early days and the way that he came up, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one is too easy, and it's not like he's out there every day, touring and shit.
Oh,
follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, follow him.
You'll see he's
Twitter.
trying.
Oh my god, he's just
trying.
the most obnoxious dick.
He actually just you know how Instagram has those like you can go into these channels where you can see like updates from the person in real time. He started one of those, and I was invited to it, so I joined it just for shits and gigs. And it's so funny. No, he had zero interaction with it, so he just put this long like "fuck you guys, I'm closing this thing down" thing because nobody interacted with me, and I was just like, "You fucking baby."
Yeah, he does live streams on Twitter all the time too. I've never seen a grown man ask for birthday presents.
Yeah, and just a reminder: this is who is the worst comedian to ever make it big, and Dane Cook is at number 16.
Oh, to ever make it big? I didn't know. I just thought it was all right. That's a make it big.
All right, so let's go up to number 15.
Oh,
Jay.
No.
Jay
Oh.
No. I'm sorry.
This makes sense. Everybody hates Jay.
I don't.
But hating him and having him be bad aren't the same thing, right? I mean, he's not exactly my cup of tea, but he wasn't like I thought he was good for what he did. I take that back. Most of what I know of him is from his monologues from his show.
Same, yeah.
And so I don't know what his actual stand-up comedy is like.
It was fucking great in the late 70s and early 80s before he even became a guest host on the Tonight Show. He was fucking fabulous. He at the Comedy Store, he was the guy to go see in 1970.
I've always heard that. Like when people talk about the early days of the Comedy Store, it's always the first one they say is Jay Leno, David Letterman.
Belly, you would walk out of the Comedy Store hurting. I remember my face hurting, my body hurting from laughing. He was great as a young man. I agree that once he got, he was a regular guest on Letterman for a long time, and he was funny doing those bits. Some of them were, canned bits and stuff like that, stuff they had prearranged. But he was really good. And then he got the guest host with Johnny Carson, and then he started to become, corporatized, and that's what killed him. But I produced a show for him in '92 on Fleet Week on an aircraft carrier in the Hudson River, and in '92 he did that show, and that killed my entire crew. Had never seen him before, and they were all like, "Whoa, this is not."
I was 1 year old when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, Jay does definitely have that stink on him from the whole Tonight Show shit and the stuff with Letterman. And like, I'm not the biggest fan of Leno, but like, definitely as a stand-up, he had his time where he was super funny, and like, he's kind of astute about stand-up too, because like he'll tell you like once you get to know a room, he'll tell you go do someplace else, because why do you want to go into a room as a comedian that you know the ins and outs of? It's boring as hell.
Right.
And so I love that, because the comics should not get comfortable. And I just wish he would kind of stick to that.
Well, what's crazy is he's basically retired. He's not even really doing anything anymore, right?
Oh,
Except for the
No,
podcast. He does the
he still
podcast and
performs.
car stuff.
No, he still performs.
Never
Is he?
stopped. Even when doing the Tonight Show, he was out there
Yeah.
going to Vegas doing
That's
shows.
awesome.
always.
I've never really disliked him. He was I liked him and Letterman both on the Tonight shows.
Now,
Yeah,
have
you
you guys
can't-
ever? Have any of you guys ever watched the movie The Late Shift? The biopic about? Okay.
I read the book for that.
Yeah, it's the movie is
Yeah, I think he's got some questionable idiosyncrasies, and then
I thought that was Arnold Schwarzenegger for a second.
Kenneth Bania
Yeah,
or
like-
Michael Richards. Who are we talking about here? Kenny?
This has Kenny on here. That's not
Yeah.
even a real person. So let's move on. That's dumb. So 13 is Carlos Mencia.
Oh man, fuck! You know what? Even though I'm not a Rogan fan, I'm glad Rogan took him down because the dude was a total blatant joke thief. The dude was toxic. He was. I didn't like. I never enjoyed him. And even the dirt to dirt thing wasn't even that fun for me. And I love
Yeah.
stupid shit.
He's just like George Lopez, and this is why I say it's a cultural thing, because it seems to be a lot of Paul Rodriguez is the same way. A lot of Latino comedians just come out yelling, and in his case, he was just yelling Bill Cosby's material.
Well, what got him too is that he was doing like a whole Mexican bit, and he's from like Ecuador or some shit like that.
Yeah, his real name isn't even Carlos Mencia.
Nat on yeah,
It's
something.
Norm, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but
His
if
name
you
is
watch
Norm.
if you watch all the Comedy Store videos of like his downfall and like other comics, not just Rogan, like commenting on it, like apparently he was stealing fucking material from people and doing it in their face.
Ari Shaffir. He did Ari
Yeah,
Shaffir's
and he-
bits in
and he-
front of him.
in front of a full room. That
Yeah.
is ballsy as fuck.
It says here that his real name is Ned Arnell Mancia.
That's it.
Yeah.
Ned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that one just seems kind of easy. Let's move up to number 12, Pauly
Speaking
Shore.
of the Comedy Store.
No, I can see why a lot of people, shit on Pauly with good reason. And is he number 12 status of worst comics to make it big? Maybe.
I don't know, man, because he was a 90s superstar.
He was. He had the movies like Son-in-Law, and
Encino Man.
Yeah, he's strictly late 80s and 90s comedy. That's what-
Biodome.
Yes.
He had it's like almost like a cult following. Like he had a niche of his audience was that beginning MTV generation.
I was a fan of the Weasel, man.
Yeah,
I was a fan of the Weasel.
It's hard to not like Pauly, even though I was never a fan of his comedy. I just it's hard to not. He's a decent guy, and
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, and I honestly, I've seen some of his recent stand up, and it's not horrible. I mean, he's definitely aging, and it's starting to really show. But I
Not
mean,
hard. Okay, Stephen,
dude's
when you
still
talk about
hilarious.
somebody who's been around as long as he has, who's been not just around, but around comedy as long as he
know.
has, and you say he's not horrible. Okay, not horrible is the way people describe me and my comedy. Not that, but
there's-
describe
I'm
him.
trying to describe it as horrible.
Well, no, there's some of his stuff now that's just so bad that you're like, come on, Pauly.
But
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he's been around that long, and not just been around, he's been, like I said, around comedy. I mean, like part of the Comedy Store. I would expect him to be better. And
I
for
just
someone
don't
to
think he's
say-
gotten better with age. I think he's gotten worse
Okay.
with age.
One of the things that his experience, and we can move on, I guess, but one of his unique in his experience is listening to comedians talk about what a slut his mother was. It's got to be like the weirdest fucking thing. All these comics talking about how Mitzi like to sample the talent. and just it's got to
I
be
mean,
hard
good for
to hear
her
that.
though. You know what? If you're a joke
who
bunny
cares?
and you open up a comedy club, that's an all-you-can-eat buffet right there. Go for it. Have some fun.
Yeah, at least it was a woman doing it this time and not a dude.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at least she didn't get like 70 comics pregnant. You know
I'm
what I'm
not.
saying?
I'm not passing judgment on her. I'm just saying how difficult it must be to hear
Oh
that
no, it's
about
got to
your
be horrible
mother
though. Yeah,
your
I
whole
mean,
life.
especially if he likes his mom.
And then they come out with the comedy store special, and all these comedians. That's one thing they're talking about is Mitzi basically gave stage time to who ate her vagina the best. Wow.
The one last thing I'll say about Paulie is like here and there he's put out these episodes of this podcast he does called the Paulie Shore Show, I think, and it is so fucking surreal and weird, but it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
He's also a good guest on other shows too. Like when he's on oh god, never mind. We'll move on. I can't remember names now.
Yep, and so this is number 11, the Dice Man, of course, Andrew Dice Clay.
That's not even fair. The dude was the first one to sell out a stadium. The dude's old school. I fucking love that dude.
I don't even think of him as old school. To me is most of what he did. It was like cute in the beginning to me. Well, not in the beginning because he wasn't the Dice Man in the beginning. He was just some random Jewish comic in the beginning, I think. And he became the Dice Man. And in the very beginning, I found the Dice Man cute and amusing, but it wore on me after like a week. After one show, I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to see this.
What's cool is when he was on Kill Tony a week or two ago, and what was refreshing is the dude was extremely positive to new comics, right? Like he was actually giving them some advice and telling them good job and shit. But then, when somebody would get an attitude or they'd be an asshole, he'd fucking tear them up. It was so good.
I won't say this about Andrew Dice Clay. One of the top 5 movies of all time. Fort Fairlane Rock and Roll Detective.
Oh, okay. I thought you was going to say Ace Ventura. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I have seen that movie multiple times, and there are parts of that movie that are funny.
Fucking amazing. I mean,
it's fucking ridiculous, but it gets bogged down in the Dice Man character.
Well, also it got killed because right at that time it was coming out, like the week it was supposed to premiere, he got into this weird thing where he was crying on Arsenio Hall and then getting roasted by the media. I mean, not roasted in a good way, not with humor. He was canceled basically, or they were trying to cancel him to the best of their ability, and so it killed the movie. And killed all the reviews of it. But to me, that movie still stands up. If you watch that movie, there, especially Gilbert Gottfried's part, but so much of it, it's just like that. If you're a fan of the Dice Man's act in Madison Square Garden, that arena show that he put on, is fucking funny. Yeah, it's a really good comedy.
There is a car chase that happens through a cemetery, and it is hilarious. It is hilarious. So I mean, yeah, overall the movie is like, but it does have its moments, and I just feel like Andrew Dice Clay got bogged down in that character, and so like everything else, like from that time, he's so stuck in it.
Well, and I think that's what happened to the show as well. Paulie Shore because the Weasel.
His TikTok stuff that he's doing now and his Instagram stuff, I think is really funny because he's just accosting strangers who.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's like, do
you ever heard of me? Who are you?
So let's get to number 10 is Rob Schneider.
Oh, come on. He's got to be number. All these people, I was thinking number 1 by far. And each 10 is way too high for him.
Well, they all can't be ones.
I know. They could all be tied for 1.
This is another one of those that I think got worse with age.
Yeah. He had success in the 90s with Deuce Bigalow and all that shit.
Stand up. I guess
but that's not
stand up before he even got to SNL.
To be fair,
right?
I didn't know he was a comic until way later in life, but Again, I thought his earlier stand-up stuff was better than anything now. Especially now it's all tainted with fucking gross fucking views. But
Yeah,
Yeah, and he paid parking fines for the January Sixers recently. So
yeah,
I can't imagine a comedian I hate more than whatever.
he'll be at my
Rob
home club
Schneider.
here in like a week or two.
So number 9, we have Matt Rife. He is,
Controversial.
he is the current comedian that everyone loves to hate.
Unless you're a MILF.
Yeah, unless you're a MILF or his accountant, then you love this guy.
Right.
And his manager loves him too. So I don't know what you can really say about
You know what?
Matt.
Matt Drago, who was on the program yesterday, he's going to star in the Matt Rife story.
They looked similar.
Yeah,
Face.
he's got the same kind of voice too.
Yeah, this is hard because everyone loves to hate on him, but you can't knock the dollars, you can't knock the seats filled, And
I don't know.
But I mean, again, I'm not a biggest fan of crowd work like that. And
here's the deal. This
works
is
for him.
a new phenomenon. Well, not necessarily a new phenomenon, but it speaks to how the benefit of being picked on your whole life is being this gawky little dweeb that people pick on as conditioning you to be a stand-up comic. But then he went and had all the work done and hit the gym and kind of blossomed late in life to a MILF candy. And so it's a really weird thing. So he never really he got some material that is okay, I guess. But crowd work is a thing because he's been practicing that since he was like 5 or 6 years old because he was always bullied, and you could see why. He was just like the geekiest little asshole.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, good for him. He's carved out a career, and he's definitely making money. So
I would trade places with him at this moment, or even 10 years ago, anytime, because to be swimming in MILF pussy like that when you're a young man. That was
I kind of feel like he's kind of like Carrot Top. It seems easy to make fun of him, and you can make fun of them all you want, but both have successful careers.
Yep.
And Carrot Top is a funny guy. You might hate him as a prop comic, but I mean, there's a reason why he's been in Vegas for 20
I just don't like Carrot Top as a plastic surgeon.
It's not even plastic surgery. It's inflatable muscles or something.
Yeah, when the dude got big, it scared me. I remember being like, oh my God, somebody ate Carrot Top. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Carrot Top, you were better looking as an ugly kid than a big, distorted, puffed up ugly kid.
Well, it kind of makes some of his props a little funnier now, because now he's this big giant guy picking up some of this shit, and you're just like,
He's like ballpark Franks.
Yeah.
They plump when you cook them.
Number 8, Kevin Hart.
Oh, GD likes that one.
Yeah, and
why do you dislike Kevin Hart so much?
You talking to me?
Yes.
I don't dislike Kevin Hart. I don't know Kevin Hart. I don't like his comedy. I don't like him as a comedian. I don't know him as a person. I love his business.
That's what I mean. What is it about his comedy? Well, I'll rephrase it. What it is about his comedy that and almost make you sense I sense just a tinge of anger on top of his comedy, like something about his comedy offends you or something. No,
I just don't. If there's anything that sounds like anger, that's not directed at him. That's directed at the people that elevate him to a comedy god. That's where the anger is. It's not him or his comedy. I just don't find him funny, and I don't think he's worth the accolades. But on the other hand, I love his business acumen. I think, either whoever is his business manager, they're wonderful, and I'd love to pick their brain about some of that stuff. But I don't think he's that great.
I would agree with you there, without a doubt. I mean, obviously, he made this list. A lot of people are agreeing with you.
And the time that he made it, now I may have my history all wrong because I don't pay attention to comics very well. but it was like Def Comedy Jam is where he cut his chops. And back then, to be funny on Def Comedy Jam, you pretty much just had to be loud and overtly exaggerated black.
Well, if you watch his he's got a few like documentary things about his life. If you watch some of them, he came up in the Comedy Cellar. He he performed nightly out there.
He came up from the Comedy Cellar because in the cellar you're not coming up to the cellar. From the
yeah, I mean, he was originally in Philly.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Part of the reason he's so driven is because his mom kept him over scheduled so that way he'd stay out of trouble.
Wow.
And that's kind of why he is like so schedule oriented and like such a taskmaster.
Gotta be that. Because Ron is giving me some fodder for shorts, little profile reels on comedians. I did not know that his mom was his driver.
Yeah, but and you know what? I think like for me, I think it's like I don't find him as funny because he just yells a lot. And that's an issue for me when I'm enjoying comedy. I don't just want to be screamed at the whole time. Which is why I found someone like Sam Kinison like absolutely just revolting.
Yeah, I feel for me he's just kind of hit or miss, and I've never been into like arena comedy to begin with, no matter who the comedian is. And then like when you got pyrotechnics and you're shooting off fire, it's like, well, how about
he does that too?
Yeah,
his shows are.
I had no idea.
I mean, he puts on a show, and it's. I mean, you like if you buy a ticket to his show, you're gonna get a good show, and that's undeniable. Like I said, there's nothing to take from him, in my opinion, outside of the fact that he yells a lot. So, I don't know.
And I just don't think he's that funny. I think most of his humor seems to be contrived, or overly contrived to me, almost like he has a formula.
That would change if GD met him and Kevin said, "Hey, I thought your stuff was funny." Then GD would be like, "Oh, you're the greatest comic ever."
Ron, I'm disappointed. Then you really don't know me. I thought you knew me better than that.
GD is like Trump in that you could buy his friendship by just with flattery.
Yes.
I thought you guys knew me better than that. Now I'm disappointed after all this time.
Ron said that. I didn't say that about you. I'm saying I was.
I just heard you say it.
I was paraphrasing what Ron was just saying. That's what
you didn't have to though. That's like agreeing. You didn't have to agree with me.
All right, ladies, relax.
You're all pretty.
All right, we're moving on to number 7.
I just want to Robin Harris' influence on all these over the top yelling guys. I think a lot of them were trying to be Robin Harris. I just think it's
so now we have number 7, another comic which a lot of people seem to hate is Amy Schumer. So she falls.
I can't
number
stand
7.
And that's a shame because I actually like her.
Oh, that's what?
Yeah. I actually
because
like
she
her.
told GD he was very funny.
No, that would be John Witherspoon, and I still don't like John Witherspoon, even though he's dead.
I don't even know who that is. All right.
See, you can't buy me. I can't be bought.
So Amy makes the list because there have been stories about Amy about whether or not she stole material. Like, I don't know if any of that shit is true. But again, she's another successful comic that people seem to not like or have some problem. So I don't know.
I just find her abrasive. I don't find her stand up funny. Like I've watched a full special and did not have a reaction to it. It was rough for me. Not for
it's
me.
like anything. Comedy is subjective.
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
Let's move on. Number 6, Andy Dick.
I forgot he was a stand-up comic. I forgot. I honestly.
Yeah. And just a reminder, everybody, this is who is the worst comedian to ever make it big. I don't know.
I just heard he's just an outrageous pervert. Mostly.
Yeah, he's got other stuff going on. Let's see.
What has he got going on? Whoa.
This one makes sense.
Yeah, number 5 is Ellen DeGenitals. I mean, DeGeneres. But she is now in the country of England, so England has her as a problem now. They can deal with her.
See, I don't know her. I do not know what her recent comedy is like. I know that in the beginning, when I first started listening to her, and like early in her career, I should say early in her career to me, because I don't know how long she's actually been doing comedy, but I thought she was funny and smart, and I don't know what her new stuff is like or what her recent stuff is like, but
I think she was pretty good when she was young. I remember I saw her at Westbury Music Fair. Oh my God, it must have been the late 80s or 90s. I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it's like Paula Poundstone. I thought Paula Poundstone was really good in the beginning. I don't know what her recent stuff is like.
Is she even still around?
Paula Poundstone?
Yeah, you know what? My friend Scott had her on his podcast about a year ago. She's still actually working. I don't know where. I mean, I've never seen any of her shows advertised.
Yeah, I mean, I have a now. I admit that I like female comics better than male comics, only because they have a perspective that I can't offer myself. I like comics that can say things and talk about things that I can't talk about.
I don't know.
No.
My issue my issue with lady comics is the same issue I have with like 18 to like 22-year-old comics. It's all cock and balls all the whole time on stage, and with lady comics, a lot of it's like dick and pussy, and it's just like,
who's Phil?
Talk about other stuff.
Who's Phil?
Oh.
Tim Law says Andy Dick was responsible for the relapse that led to
Phil Hartman.
Oh, Phil Hartman. Yeah. Oh.
You see, Tim, you know how many Phils there are in entertainment? You have to be more specific. Yeah.
I forgot about the news radio stuff. Yeah, that's to me is Andy Dick's biggest success. It's not his stand-up.
Yeah.
I personally like when male comics get upset when they say women comics are too vulgar, and like that bothers them, and that always makes me laugh. It's like, really, that you're gonna take that stance? All right, but all right, let's move on. Number 4, Joe Rogan.
Yes. You mean he's not in the top 3 for worst?
Really?
Now I can't wait to see the top 3.
I mean, I definitely would put him above all the other ones. Because again, I mean, at this point, in my opinion, you're a podcaster, man. I mean, I know he's still on stage frequently. I know he's still doing comedy regularly, but man, just
yeah, I almost think the comedy now is almost just a show at this point, really, for him. Just like, oh, look, I'm still a comedian. And I agree. I really don't think he hasn't been a comedian for a while. He is a podcaster.
One thing, and it's rare for me to say anything nice about Rogan. He is a.
You like his haircut?
Yeah, I like his haircut. You're right, and his headphones. He's a student of the history of comedy, and I respect that. I mean, because too many people get into craft and don't learn anything about the history of it and where it came from and all that stuff. I respect his knowledge or his interest and passion for the roots of comedy. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think he sucks.
Aw, that was nice, Matt.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Throw him.
Let's go to number 3.
You know what, Steven? I'll throw you off the roof, and then I'll throw Rogan off the roof to land on you.
Yeah, so number 3 is Seinfeld on this list.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Seinfeld has made a lot of money. That's why I think he is on this. And Seinfeld's a bit of a dick, and he always has been a bit of a dick, though, when it comes to comedy.
Well, let me just tell you, he's a bit of a dick because where he comes from, and I know because I grew up like about 5 miles from where he comes from. Everybody's a dick, so it's a Long Island thing. If you're from Long Island, you're a dick. So I give Jerry.
Yeah, I've never found his personality abrasive, like in all the shit I've ever watched with him. I struggled with his comedy when I was younger. It didn't appeal to me, but as an adult, it's definitely. To me, I think he's funny. I love him.
There are a lot of young comedians even starting up now emulate some of his style. That what's all this stuff about? Even if it's just in a sarcastic way, the fact that he's touched them in that way, I mean, I don't know if I could sit through like a whole show of his like that. I mean, I think I can stomach him for like the 2 or 3 minutes I see him do it on Seinfeld.
Well, his delivery on his jokes is kind of like infiltrated the pop lexicon, right? Like when somebody goes, "What's the deal with?" Everyone thinks Seinfeld, 100%, like you said. So, yeah. I mean, and like I said, when I was younger, I did not find him as funny as I do now. But now, like I said, I think he's one of the greats. I agree with you, Sam. We'll die on that hill together. You'll just have to push me up it.
Yeah, Seinfeld. He's like one of those comedians that's he likes the nuts and bolts of it, the technicality of it. He's kind of like the guitarist from the band Boston, who's just a complete asshole and a dick. And he's like, I'm going to take 15 years to make this album. It's like, fucking stop. It's not that great. So that's
Tom Schultz, who Ron just referenced, actually joined Face. I think it's really him. I'm not, but and friend requested me, which was really weird. But I think it's a real Tom Schultz. And now I hope he's not listening, because I disavow everything that Ron Kane just said about Boston. Anyway, all right.
Yes, well, I do not, and I blame him for the lead singer killing himself.
Wow.
Yeah, that documentary right there is a good one.
Do you also blame him for Phil Hartman's death? I just
no, but he was involved in the Kennedy assassination.
Okay.
Yeah. So number 2 is Roseanne Barr.
I thought she would have been. You know what? This makes sense. Number 2 or number 1, because fucking A, dude. Oh, so bad.
Well, again, I'll say this again.
When she was younger, she was funnier.
I hate to say nice things about any of these people I hate, but Roseanne was so iconic in what she did, because she was one of the really first housewife comedians out there. That they made a movie, Tom Hanks and Sally Field. Sally Field was essentially playing Roseanne Barr in this movie, and that, to me,
the Roseanne Barr character, the domestic goddess thing,
right? Yeah, but she was based, that character was based on Roseanne's life. And if you get to the point where they're making movies and they're taking some liberty to base a character on you, that's not many people reach that status.
I'll also give Roseanne this, that growing up watching her show, Roseanne, growing up as a family that was also poor, broke, parents cheated on each other, like that show resonated hardcore with me as a kid. I mean, so it was kind of cool to see that on TV, to be like, oh, maybe I'm not the only one in the world like this, so.
Except for they didn't have the Klan parties at their house.
No, but they addressed racism a few times in that show, and got pretty heavy. So yeah. Now she's just fucking nuts.
Yeah, she's just a character of her own self. It's horrible.
Well, and then she made this rap song. She goes on Kill Tony and just basically talks about the Jews and vaccines and fucking goes on weird rants. And it's like she has dementia, but nobody has her on a leash.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to number 1. And number 1,
I have dementia. Nobody has me on a leash, so
that's true.
So number 1 of the 22 worst comedians to make it big is a shared spot between James Corden and Jimmy Fallon.
That's not super fair, because I think Fallon's way more likable. I think Fallon is
it's supposed to be funniest though, right? And
well, Fallon's also funny, way funnier in my opinion, way funnier.
Ian got here. Hold on. I just want to say before we go any further, Ian got here late. Brendan Schaub was like 18, right? Or he was way 16. Up the list. I thought he should be number 1 too, Ian. I'm on your side, so let these guys battle it out over Fallon and that fake English guy.
Well, I think people dislike Jimmy because he's always like, I'm so likable, and he's known to really put some back. Apparently,
oh yeah, He's a known drinker.
Because that's why he he had that thing with his finger being caught on carpet or something, and some people said that was a drunken accident as well. I definitely feel that Jimmy is more likable and a better comic than James Croden now.
Yeah, and to disagree with Ian here, he said Fallon was never a stand-up. Actually, he was before SNL. He was in Brooklyn. He was very well known, very well liked. His shows were well attended before he was anybody knew who he was. I mean, outside of Brooklyn. So, yeah, he was a stand-up. A very, very very popular on Long Island and Brooklyn, Queens. So, yes, he was.
There's a video of Jimmy Fallon on YouTube. It's an 8-minute clip.
Oh yeah, Steven Crowder. Yeah, Steven Crowder thought of himself as a stand-up comedian at one point.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was terrible. He was, but I think this list, again, to qualify this list, it has at the end of it that made it big. He never made it big. He's not on the. He's not. He made it big but his father bought half of those 6 million views that he had, 6 million subscribers he had on YouTube, and now he's on Rumble, and he's not even at the 500,000 mark. So that's who he is.
So there you go, everybody. That was who is the worst comedian to ever make it big, and that was the top 22 by BoredPanda.com.
See, now I'm thinking of very young people who put that list together, because I could go back in time and find really bad people who made it big.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we need people that are from at least
from this century. Yeah, from the yes, before John Wilkes Booth was on a comedy tour, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're waiting.
No, Ian, that wasn't showbiz. Show up on time, or quit calling stuff out.
Steven's getting angry here. You can't get Steven angry.
I'm coming for you.
Hey, that was good. That gave us something to talk about.
Yeah,
it did.
I'm drawing a blank here. Brian Franklin, not Ben Franklin, who I went to high school with. Ben Franklin.
I knew it.
Is due any moment now with some wedding speech, wedding vow disaster stories, and why he's the guy you should go to help write your script. I love you so much. So I'm gonna play some news in the meantime, so that we could refresh our brain palette.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is scheduled to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss the recent ceasefire with Hamas, strategies to counter Iran, and the expansion of diplomatic relations with Arab nations. Joseph Eckerson has the latest.
Netanyahu faces domestic pressure to resume military operations, but advocates for a decisive victory over Hamas and the return of hostages. The war has led to significant casualties and extensive destruction in Gaza.
In Russia's Kursk region, a deadly attack on a boarding school has led to mutual accusations between Russia and Ukraine. The incident resulted in the deaths of 4 individuals, with 4 others sustaining serious injuries.
Concurrently, a Russian missile strike on an apartment building in Poltava, Ukraine, caused 14 fatalities and injured 17 others. Benjamin Wright reporting.
In a significant development, 2 senior security officials at the U.S. Agency for International Development have been placed on administrative leave. John Voorhees and his deputy, Brian McGill, reportedly resisted efforts by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency to access classified materials without proper security clearances. Kyle Norris reports.
The USAID website has since been taken offline, and the agency is grappling with significant staff reductions due to recent budget cuts and hiring freezes. USAID plays a crucial role in administering billions of dollars in humanitarian aid worldwide.
This is the latest news headlines.
Not so much.
In Greece, authorities have heightened monitoring of the Santorini volcano following increased seismic activity. The island, renowned for its tourism, has experienced a series of minor tremors, prompting concerns about potential volcanic unrest. Jim Kender reports.
Local officials have advised residents and tourists to remain vigilant and follow any safety instructions issued by authorities. While no evacuations have been ordered, contingency plans are being reviewed to ensure preparedness in case of an eruption.
President Donald Trump has acknowledged that Americans may experience economic discomfort due to newly imposed tariffs on imports from China, Canada, and Mexico. The tariffs include a 25% levy on Canadian goods and a 10% tax on oil, natural gas, and electricity.
Economists warn that these measures could lead to higher consumer prices and increased inflation, potentially costing American households between $1,000 to $1,200 annually. Despite these concerns, President Trump remains committed to his strategy, emphasizing national interests and economic protectionism. Kevin Sanders reporting.
In Arlington, Virginia, authorities have recovered the remains of 55 out of 67 victims from a mid-air collision between an American Airlines jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter near Washington, D.C. The tragic accident resulted in the deaths of all individuals aboard both aircraft. Lawrence Keller reports.
Federal investigators are examining conflicting altitude readings from both aircraft to determine the cause of the collision. Families of the victims have visited the crash site to honor their loved ones, while Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has raised concerns about potential air traffic control issues. This incident is noted as the deadliest U.S. air disaster since 2001.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Get out. All right. Did that end on its own? Yes, it did. Good. Just want to let people know Palma Florentino. You know Palma Florentino? She'll be at Sticks and Stones Friday night. Sticks and Stones Comedy Club in the Hamptons. And there's a special comedy film fest special screening. I don't know if she's got like a film. Had a very interesting talk with Abby last night. She wants to get into the podcasting game. She wants to do some YouTube stuff because she's got an extensive catalog now of people who have performed at the club. Opportunities for, this is what makes Abby a hero, in my view, as far as people who manage and run comedy clubs. Is she does a lot of promotion on her own without the comics getting involved. She doesn't insist that the comics do all the promotion on the shows out there, but she's also very looking out for comedians. She doesn't want to do anything without giving the comedians a piece of the pie. So she's going to create a YouTube channel where she's featuring some of the comics material. She wants to make sure that they get a fair share of the revenue and all that stuff. You don't see a lot of that kind of concern on the part of comedy club owners and managers where they're really looking out for the talent. So big things there. So she wants to do a podcast and the possibility, I talked to her about this, of doing live podcasts from the stage at Sticks and Stones, and that would be fun. That would be fun. I would love to be part of that. So
I've produced like 2 live podcast shows, and they were very fun to do.
Yeah,
and we did one as a rap battle, and we did another one as a roast, and it was so much fun.
Yeah. So that was something she hadn't considered. She was talking about doing a podcast, and I was like, these live podcasts from the stage, not like Govs does anymore. And kudos to Govs, all that stuff in the back room. This is on the stage with an audience in front of you. It's a whole different experience, and I think there's more and more going to see more and more of that. So.
It's on my bucket list of stuff to do for sure, comedy wise, is to get on a live podcast like
you mean like the bucket in the glory hole rooms is that bucket list? Yeah. Full of cum. That's a lot of cum.
Lots of cum. So much.
All right. So that's that. So yeah. Palma Florentino this Friday night. 8 p.m. Get your tickets, Sticks and Stones Comedy Club. If you're on Long Island, if you're on the far end of Long Island where Stevens planes don't fly over. Yeah. All right. So we have rescheduled the premiere of Beyond Classified to Monday the 10th. Is it the 10th?
Monday the 10th. Yep.
Yeah, at 9 p.m. And there will be a guest. Stephen, I'll send you the PDF for that guest. We're going to talk ghosts, but we'll touch on UFOs and all that stuff. Steven
Yeah,
will.
no,
No.
yeah, well, yeah, I was gonna make it more ghost centric since he's gonna be there, and
The ghost of Ron Kane.
yeah,
Even though he's not dead, we'll have his ghost there.
yeah, the ghost stuff's fun. And those of you watching, you can always call in if you have your own ghost stories or encounters or anything like that, and be on the show. So,
Or if you're just ghosting the show,
yeah, do that.
you just don't call in, and then we'll know that you are not. We'll know that you're part of the audience by you not being there.
Will there be any sexy ghosts on this show?
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's a couple succubus stories, if you know what I'm saying.
So
a whole bus? Damn, that's you talk about lockjaw.
Suck it.
I wasn't talking.
You must be the Monopoly guy.
Who, me or him? I thought it was me. Yeah. All right, that's the show for you. Oh wait, we're waiting. We have a guest coming up.
Hey, shut up, Ian. I didn't steal a Bo Burnham joke. I only use I do what everyone does in conversation. I use good jokes that I've heard. I don't use them on stage. That's thievery. I'm a lot of things, not a joke.
This is on stage. The guest isn't. Brian Franklin's not here. He sent me a thing that he was excited to be on today. I don't know.
Lies. Maybe his email was a disaster story.
All right, you guys talk amongst yourself. I'll give you a topic: worst comedians of all time. All of that one's been talked about. While I try to reach out to him and say, "Where the hell are you?" I'm about to make. I'm writing my wedding vows, and I need help.
What's the most unique comedy show you guys have seen?
Unique.
Like, for example, I've seen an all nude comedy show. I've seen I've seen the Peppers and Punchlines where they eat like super spicy foods and have to do their sets. I saw Comics Under the Influence where they did their sets and then they had to do another set like drunk. So those were all fun.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever went to a show like that. I'm like, I'm good.
Well, I'll tell you that the nude one was uncomfortable, not fun. And it's really hard to get someone's joke when like you can see that their nipples are hard or like they're chody. It's just all weird, not fun. Don't recommend that.
Brendan Walsh has some very unique comedy. I talked about this before, but there was he did a live prank phone calls comedy show. He was doing a prank phone calls from the stage, like the B-Man act. And he was basically doing some real prank calls. And then he called a children's hospital with a bomb threat. And
God,
hold on, that's a Willie response. And I yelled at Willie for, "Oh my God, that's not funny." He called the children's hospital with a bomb threat, and the audience was turned on him like they were getting really ugly. They were ready to fucking tar and feather him. And it turned out he was actually calling his wife backstage. It was all he was pranking the audience, which I thought was a unique twist on it. So absorbing the hate willfully, getting the crowd to fucking really hate you. This is an Andy Kaufman fucking move, like the women's wrestling thing. It's getting your audience to fucking despise you and want to kill you, only to let them in on the joke at the very end. That's fucking to me. I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's like, hilarious. No, I didn't think that wasn't funny. I think that, even if like, whatever, good for him. Go for
calling
it.
a bomb threat to a children's hospital, you're gonna get the audience like, wow, that's
that's why I said, oh my God, because it's like, oh, it's genius. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's the original. And then Brendan did a talk about ventriloquist act. He did a ventriloquist act where he was the dummy. The dummy, the puppet was the guy, and he was the puppet.
Who put their arm up his ass?
Yeah. Well, I think it was me. No, it was you, and it wasn't in the arm. Yeah, different kind of comedy shows. Andy Kaufman. I know I was never at one of the stand-ups, but I knew somebody who went to one of his early stand-ups in New York City, and they're like, "You got to see this fucking weird guy. He was singing children's songs. He was, and the cow went moo." those kind of things, like doing a children's birthday party at a live, Catch a Rising Star or something in New York City, and people they didn't know how to fucking handle it. Like, what the fuck was that?
I was at a comedy show where this guy was dressed as a reverend. He had people in the audience playing with dildos and stuff.
Not funny.
Yeah.
It's not. No, it's not funny. Yeah. I'm
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that
Willie.
guy sent me a video of him playing with dildos once.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's not funny. I don't know. I just like to do my Willie. Is that
Sounds like
Willie
you miss him a little bit. Sounds like you miss him.
Yeah.
What to ask the guy from Brazzers about the toys.
Oh, yeah. Vic Legina.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be an expert on it.
You think? I just want to get I want to be an extra in one of his movies. I don't know.
You don't. No, you don't. You either want to be the star. They need fluffers.
I'm just responding to Brian Franklin's time was 5 minutes ago, man, dude. Come on. Don't leave us waiting. I'm at the altar waiting for my wedding vows, and you're hanging me up. Oh,
yeah. Come on, Brian.
Yeah, it's funny. My wife and I, when we did our wedding vows, mine was about 2 minutes max. Hers was about 16 minutes, I think.
Brian thinks he's here. I don't see him here, so somebody's wrong. Maybe I fucked up. I'm gonna send him a different link.
Did you send him the link to the evening show or something?
That's what I call schlong division.
Well, I do have some entertainment stories.
All right, let me just send them this.
Can you play the best president for black people, please, for 1,000, Alex?
Why?
Have been the best president for the black population.
Could we not do that in February? No, just kidding.
Hey, no, listen. I know it's Black History Month, but my birthday is also this month, okay? So shut up.
Yeah, but your birthday is not the whole fucking month, okay? When's your birthday? February 10th or something?
The 17th.
Same thing. Okay, I was a week off.
Yeah.
But the point is...
I screwed up. I must have sent him the wrong link or something. I don't know. He thinks he's here. He's been on the whole time. I don't see him here at all.
There we go.
She needs a sound effect with that thing. Whoever produced that video should have at least been.
What was a sound effect? Didn't you hear it?
No.
It was like a.
It needs to be louder than that. Then it needs to be. It needs to be more audible. Right.
Got cotton crotch or something?
Hello, you're on the air with Doug. Who am I talking to?
The frogs are still gay. Goodbye.
Wow. I haven't heard much from Alex. What's going on with him?
Well, here we go.
All right, I'll guess it here because I screwed up and probably sent him the wrong link here. And now I'm the bad guy. I am the.
You are.
Of course I am.
This we know.
The right layout. Why is that not happening right? Who's screwed with the layout here? There you go. All right. Brian Franklin is a co-founder of Vows and Speeches, which helps clients write and rehearse the delivery of wedding vows, wedding speeches, and ceremony scripts for friendly family officiants. Anyway, he's here now, despite my screw-up of sending him probably the wrong link. Ladies and gentlemen, say good morning to Brian Franklin. Good morning, Brian. I deeply apologize. Sincerely.
As long as I'm not the bad guy, it's all good.
Okay.
So I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now,
you're a guitarist.
I am, yeah.
All right.
A little bit, yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
Oh, right now, what's funny? I just there's one. I don't know if you can see it over my shoulder over there somewhere.
Yeah, I see two over your shoulder.
Yeah,
one looks like an acoustic, and the other one looks like a grayish or greenish.
Yeah, it's actually a Squire. It's probably one of the cheaper guitars I've ever purchased, but then I put a bunch of new pickups and stuff onto it. So it's actually probably my best sounding guitar right now. But yeah, no, that one, and then the strap behind me is probably my favorite at the moment.
Oh.
They're all like photographs. They all have memories attached to them. So
yeah. Well, if you see a Squire with basically all the finish knocked off a Squire Strat, and some very bad fretware. It was stolen from me at a gig last summer. So if you see
that's it. He
sad,
refinished
yeah.
it. That's it right there. He refinished it. Doesn't it look good, Matt?
It looks
many
great,
years,
Brian. Good
many
for you.
years ago, I was in a recording studio and we were working all night, and I leaned my guitar against my truck and I drove off. and I was so tired, I drove off, and then I got home. I thought it was stolen out of my truck, but then but someone brought it into a bar and they found it, and so they were holding it for me. But some idiot put it behind the piano, and then it was stolen.
Wow.
So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Yeah.
So, what prompted you to get into this business of helping people write speeches? I mean, I know things go wrong, but I didn't think it was that prevalent a situation where it needed somebody to address it. There is what prompted you to get into this business that you're in?
Well, it's not just about things going wrong. It's about finding the right words, finding the words that you want to put together. And not everybody's a great writer. And I've been lucky in that I've been a good writer for most of my life. And very early on, people were coming to me for help with things like that. Unfortunately, I was working in politics, and I wanted to get the hell out of politics. So I was a political consultant for many, many years, but speech writing was a piece of it. And so I would have friends and family ask me to do things, and I'm a pretty outspoken and dynamic person, and so a few of them asked me to officiate their weddings. And so when it came time to get out of politics, I started looking at things that I could do that were within my skill set that I could do remotely, and then I started looking at wedding speech writing, and there really wasn't a niche there yet. And
I don't think there is. It's just you're the only person in this business, right?
No, I think there's a few of us out there that are doing it in different ways, but it's certainly no one has created a niche as of yet. And that was one of the things I saw from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that this was, it's 2.5 million weddings a year. And each one of those weddings tends to have 4 speeches. People do their own vows.
I'm 2.4 million of them.
Yeah.
So straight bedfellows to weddings.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
I'm in LA.
Because I was thinking Las Vegas would be an ideal place to set up shop with that. Like,
yeah. I like the long, the long drawn out weddings. So
Right.
the ones that have lots of talking. So, but people don't need help. This is a hard kind of writing. Summarize the love of your life in 2 minutes. It's not easy, even if you're a good writer. So,
and that's why my wife didn't try. I think her vow, we wrote our own. Mine was about 2 minutes. Hers was on about 15 to 20 minutes. It was
20 minutes.
It was long. And only that, every year on our anniversary, she says, "Let's watch our wedding video." And I said, "Can we skip the vows part?" And because I can't take it that long. And
I would go over it with a checklist to see how well you've lived up to those vows one by one. Like,
I've lived up to my part. I don't know if she lived up to her part.
We don't know that because you haven't watched the vows.
Well, GD,
and 20 minutes is a lot of promises.
Your wife had heard that the man will last as long as the vows last when you guys consummate the marriage. She went for 20 minutes, but you got the wrong message. You only went 2. Yeah.
No, I overperformed, but that's not the point.
We do 1 to 2 minute vows. Ironically, in my own marriage, we didn't do vows for precisely the reason that we have a business, is that my wife felt outmatched by this. There wasn't a service available for her, and so it just didn't even come up. We ran through the ceremony pretty quickly, but so we can get to the party. But
there were no vows at all.
No, we did. I mean, we had the ceremony, but I think we did something like I do, but I honestly couldn't tell you. It was all a blur. But I think, and we didn't hire a videographer. That was the other mistake we made. But I think in this case, like 1 to 2 minutes is perfect. That's all you need.
Too long for me, even.
Too many vows.
Yeah, I'm a 30-second man.
Yeah.
A very good friend of mine who's no longer with us. he was in Costa Rica when he met his bride, and she was I guess whatever religion, Santeria. They have this the night before the wedding, the bride gets up and does a confessional. He wasn't part of this, but he was there and felt compelled after her, confessing all her sins and whatever. He felt compelled to stand up and say, "I slept with your sister." And that didn't go well. He basically had to leave the country immediately.
Yeah, the sad thing is that one of the wedding speech disaster stories that I have comes from a luxury wedding photographer, where the father of the groom got up there and confessed that he and his son went to a brothel together in some South American country, and when I say together, I mean together. Like they,
thanks, Dad.
And so that destroyed the wedding. People don't really have a lot of sense when it comes to these things.
Your wife is your partner now, right?
She is, yes.
Does she? Because it seems to me this would make sense that your wife would write the vows for the groom and you would write the vows for the bride, or help with those. No.
No, I mean, look. I mean, the writing itself. I'm a romantic. I mean, it's more a question of doing the interview correctly so that you get their voice and their way of being and their stories. I mean, these are their stories. This is not me just writing it for them. This is me writing it with them based on an hour-long interview that I do that gets boiled down to 1 to 2 minutes or 3 to 4 in the case of a speech. So it's something that that is very personalized in the end, much more than people think initially.
What about you keep it all clean, right? It's all G-rated.
Yeah, I mean, you want to do no harm to the wedding, and the jokes that you would make with your friends and family and behind closed doors are different than the ones you would make when your boss is at the wedding or your grandmother or things like that. So it's it's a different situation, and the rule is just to protect the sanctity of the experience for everybody.
Has anyone
Has
anyone ever requested? Has anyone ever requested like a funky or kind of out of box type of vows?
That's a great question. I have had some people want to push the envelope, and talk about their wife's butt or things like that, things that might be on the edge of it, or boobs and things like that. I've had, honestly, the most out there one came from a wedding planner that I worked with for a long time ago when I first started the business. And she just had this idea that she was going to write something that was so different than everybody else had heard. And it turned into like a 7-minute mystical thing. And I kept trying to edit it back. But, this is their event. Ultimately, they'll do what they want to do. But if you want the help and you want to try and dial it in, then that's why you come to us. And we also do delivery coaching as part of it. It's something that we rehearse with them, and we give them tips on how to be more dynamic and, lift your voice when you're saying something fun. Right.
Right. Now, vowsandspeeches.com is where people are going to go if they're interested in this stuff and how we spread the word on this stuff. Because I basically tell people, you know what, don't get married. That's my solution.
Now, but the thing is, for the most part, good business practices means you have repeat customers. So are you writing vows so that the marriage is self-destruct in a couple of years so they can come back for more vows?
Yeah.
Planned obsolescence.
I could write their divorce letters and stuff.
Yeah.
No, we're aiming for success, but I have had repeat business where they'll hire us because they, first time it's the vows, and then somebody asks them to do a speech somewhere and things like that. So that's always great. And we've gotten referrals for eulogies even. I mean, it's
I was going to say that's a natural branch out of your business. Is a spin-off, the eulogy stuff.
I've done a few of them. It's actually some of the most rewarding work I've done, but it's very sad, and of course, and the timeline for those things it's a little faster. So,
well, could I hire you to write my eulogy today? Because I'm thinking
I would love to. Wouldn't it be fun to do that now? Right?
I've now started writing mine. I've actually put out
what a friggin'
letters to friends of mine.
Crap.
What?
What a narcissist! You're writing your own eulogy.
Actually, technically, the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll is writing it.
All right.
But I have friends of mine who have submitted videos, so we're going to put together a montage of them, what they think of me at my funeral.
Well, hey, just to let everyone know, I write Matt's eulogy every day, so it's up to date. And I always like to start it.
You must be the Monopoly guy.
One of my friends in his 1 minute snippet of he's an actor, and so he's standing like this, and he's doing his tribute to me, and then toward the very end he goes, and you can see me, and he turns around and points to the picture of the poster that he's in the movie he's in. And I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, forget vows. Demands from the afterlife, right? We can do.
Turns into
have
a
a lot of
plug for
fun
his
with that.
movie that he's in.
Now you also write like speeches. Now it's been a while, but just the best man and the maid of honor generally gives speeches, right? Or do parents do it?
Parents do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Often it's the father of the bride, the father of the groom. Sometimes it really tradition has slowly gone out the window with a lot of this stuff because people want it to be representative of their own life and not necessarily as cookie cutter as everything else has been. So a lot of people do things that are unorthodox, but this is where the most danger to the wedding exists, because if people go even 10 minutes, the food can get cold. They can disrupt the food service. So it's just, it's hard to do 10 minutes and make it fun, right?
Well, that's why you serve cold food. That's why you don't serve
there
hot
you go.
food. You can go as long as you want, and the food won't get cold because
see, there you go. Problem solved, right?
I'm curious though, because sometimes you have like a big family, like you have like a father and he has like 4 daughters and they all get married. Have you done like the wedding of the 4 or 5 weddings of the same family, sisters and brothers and stuff like that?
I have. Sequentially, I've done. There's this one family where I think I've done 4 of their events now, including the mother who got remarried, and it's been a ton of fun because now I know this family backwards and forwards. So,
do you do like really? Is this white bread? A little bit of chocolate in there. Well, so white and black in there culturally. But do you get like lots of different cultures in?
We get everything. Yeah, really? I mean, we work all over the country. We've gotten everything, and it really just comes down to love is love, and not to get sappy with it, but it's a pretty straightforward thing. That when someone loves another person, no matter what culture, you have your story and how you live with each other, and all of the fun quirks about the two of you, and what makes you laugh, and what drives you crazy about the other person, and that's when I get that out of you, then I'm writing that, and I'm writing to that, and so it doesn't really matter if as long as I can understand what you're saying, then I can do it. I did have a very challenging one recently where one of the 2 grooms had a very thick accent. He was from another country. His language skills were okay, but not expansive. And so then the challenge was like, how do I write in a way that still sounds like him, because there are words that he's just never going to use, but also respect his intelligence. He's a very intelligent dude. I just didn't want to make it sound something that he's not. And so that was really the hardest thing to write, because I just didn't know exactly how to phrase things and in a way that wouldn't be insulting.
Wow.
But simplify without dumbing down.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, and that's what the editing process is for. I send it to them. They get unlimited revisions. We go back and forth as long as it takes to get them happy with the
Oh, that's got to be frustrating. I mean, sometimes you just got. I mean, the unlimited need, because just being in marketing my whole life, the one thing I always hated was, "It's perfect. Can you just change one thing?" And that one thing leads to another thing and another thing. And it's like this never-ending project. You just got to settle sometimes for what.
Well, I mean, we have a launch date, and it's going.
It has to be limited because there's a date.
Hard deadline.
Right. It's honestly limited more by their time. By the time they get closer to the wedding, they're busy. They don't have a ton of time to make revisions. And it's actually more frustrating to not get the feedback as quickly I want to be able to fix it for them. And when you can't get their attention and give them what they want, that can be hard. But that's just the process. And most people I'm encouraging people to start this as early as possible, long before you're even close to the wedding, so that you have the time to do this and you have the time to make a revision. So
I say write your vows even before you have the other person.
There you go. Yeah. That would be fun. Yeah.
You just your vows and you hold it and you put them in your pocket. And when you meet somebody, you go like, "What do you think of this?"
Yeah.
You're hired. You can be my wife. You're hired.
But why promise things that you don't have to promise yet, right?
Well, see, but at that point, you know what you're willing to give.
Well, maybe.
Like, I know I can't be faithful, but I can take care of your rich and poor. So
yeah,
I can stay healthy. I just can't stay faithful. So.
Or like, listen, I'm cool, but like if you get cancer or something, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I can't do that.
My mother died from cancer. My father died from cancer. My sister died from cancer. I just can't do another cancer. I'm sorry.
See, that's how I know my wife is real love, because when I met her, I was already fucked up. So, can't get
I
much
apologize for the really terrible people you've gotten to meet this morning, Brian. Awful people. Are your typical clients young people getting married for the first time?
I would say that's probably the majority of them, not necessarily young, but in their, I guess everybody's young now. It feels like, but at the same time, I'm getting a lot of 40 and 50-year-olds that are remarrying or just didn't find their person until later on. I've gotten a few vow renewals and things like that, but it's interesting because I think as we've seen, people are pushing back marriage and having kids. There's a lot of careerism going on first, and perhaps being a little bit more discriminating. But I've had a few really young ones, like in their early 20s, and I've had ones that are, in their 60s. We did one recently.
How about there seems to be a trend of young women marrying old sugar daddy, but that I mean, how do you keep from the judgment? I would be full of judgment. Like if I saw a 24-year-old girl marrying a 65-year-old guy, which I have seen recently, I would be like, snickering, full of judgment.
There are times when I'm doing these interviews and I'm listening to their answers, and I think to myself, this one's an interesting one. Yeah, I'm not really like, is this going to work, right? But then but what do I know? I mean, if you look at your friends and family, do you really understand why these people are together all the time, right? They're together because they're the ones for each other, and I'm sure people look at my marriage and then they can't understand why my wife is with me at all. So, there is judgment, but at the same time, I'm there to have the most optimistic position, right? That's my professional need, And again, I worked in politics, so I mean, this is not that.
So you know how to tell a good lie.
Yeah, exactly. The only difference is that I'm selling it for good purposes and love versus dividing the country.
I promise to love, honor, and cherish you, and give a chicken in every pot.
Yeah. Well, we talk about vows, but like the vows are actually the actual promises that are vows are a small portion of the vows that they recite. It's really like the last few lines. They say a few things like that, but really it's just like a declaration of their appreciation and love and
I got
and
one.
happiness.
I promise to love, honor, obey, and all that stuff, all that kind of good stuff, and speak softly and carry a big stick.
Yeah.
Normally I like just to take a switchblade to my hand, then I cut hers, then we join together like that.
He's in the mafia.
That's how you get Hep C and shit, bro. Stop.
No, that's
that's how she gets Hep C.
Yeah, because he already has it.
When you become a made man, you do that stuff. Ron knows this. We went through this already. So
I've had some interesting ones where, like, especially with the speeches, where people just don't like the spouse, and you've got to work around people's actual feelings about this marriage.
Yeah.
And
Do they ever like work it into their vows that threesomes are needed at least every couple months?
I haven't had that one yet, but I welcome the challenge. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. When I talked about culture, I wanted to kind of spin off into polygamy. Have you ever even encountered somebody who's
What
been?
a great question. That's the first time I've been asked this. Not yet. I mean, but
That
hey,
would be a challenge, wouldn't it?
no pun intended, but I'm open to it.
Yeah.
I see what you
Hey.
did there.
Yeah.
But that would be a kind of a challenge, right? Not just writing the vows, but the speeches and all that stuff. Like, where do you? Obviously, people like that have no jealous bone, right?
An erotic challenge.
Man, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be fun.
You would
For
think
those
they
of
don't
you
have
in
a
the
jealous
yeah. If anyone's listening that's a polygamist, I will the first one of these I'll do half off. How's that?
What's our audience like in Utah? Because that's where.
There you go.
I was gonna say because there's this show on I think it was on like TLC. This dude with 4 wives, and sister wives, and like his whole marriage is falling apart. Like I think he's down to like 1 or 2 now. Like they're falling off.
I think part of the reason why it's falling apart is they invited cameras into their marriage.
Well, yeah, that obviously never ends well. But I mean, could you imagine writing one where the guy's marrying 4 chicks?
Well, the question is, does he do it at the same time or sequentially? And if he does it sequentially, then you have this issue where it's like you can't repeat the same thing, right? So you have to come up with new things, and then somebody complains because you didn't promise me that, right? So it can get very complicated. But
I think with this guy, he married him like at different times, like years apart.
Are there any disaster stories that you could share that would be surprising? Because I think they fall in the best man was drunk and throwing F-bombs would not be like a
I collect them.
to anybody.
Yeah.
Or like the drummer falling off the stage or the drums falling. It's like typical stuff. Anything beyond like that would really kind of make us say, wow, that's
so many things. Yeah. I mean, beyond the one I mentioned earlier about the groom's dad, you have, and I collect these from luxury wedding planners. A lot of these stories come from luxury weddings, ironically. But there are people, the biggest mistake people make is they go on too long, right? But what we think is too long is the record right now is 60 minutes. But I have
one of Trump's. That sounds like a Trump vow.
I mean, it could. I mean, it tends to be the fathers of the brides generally that go on too long, but on occasion you get a best man, and there's just they don't have a plan in place to play them off. But so going on too long.
Because the fathers don't want to see the little girls grow up, so they just keep postponing it.
They're filibustering.
It's filibusters. Like, if I keep talking, she can't get married.
Yeah, you need like a 60% vote of the people in the yeah. The other ones that stick out, there was a best man who seated the groomsmen told them all to have their keys ready, and at some point he said, okay, jingle your keys if you slept with the bride, right? And that didn't go over too well. Things like that
because there were too many keys being jingled.
Yeah.
Or because the groom was the only one who didn't jingle his keys.
There's of course you have the people that make the mistake of talking about exes. There's people that talk about there was a maid of honor that disclosed at some point that the bride had a relationship with her high school teacher. I mean, things like that are just revealed along the way that we, of course, in our work would have edited out pretty quickly. But do no harm is really the first rule here.
Do you personally? You can't, obviously you're online, so you're probably working with people who are not in your geographic area. But do you personally follow up or try to be part of every ceremony that you write for?
Generally speaking, we're not invited, but and we actually, one thing I didn't mention is that there are clients of ours that don't want anyone to know, including their spouse,
Oh, you're like a ghostwriter, and they want to
right.
actually be the actual
Like
author.
suddenly they have
Oh, so
these
you're the
skills.
dirty little secret.
Sometimes once in I would say about 15-20%, something like that,
So
will
you're
not tell
helping the
anybody.
marriage start off with a
With a
lie.
lie, yeah. At some point, I encourage them to tell their spouse that they're getting. There's nothing wrong with getting help. They're not doing their own. They didn't sew their own dress. They're not doing their own hair or makeup that day. You know, you're getting help to make this the best day ever. Right?
Well,
I did my own hair when I
on
got
an
married. My wife
entrepreneurial
did her own
level,
hair.
I'm just thinking if you could pass that information to me, it would be great blackmail stuff. I could probably make some money with that.
Now, are
Like,
you
just
related?
get wealthy guys coming in, write my vows for me, and then they want to keep it a secret. Oh yeah, we got you by the
It's funny. The first one that I did get invited to was an older couple, and we were very excited to see it live. And I was even talking to the wedding planner. Oh yeah, I wrote the vows, and then they both just got hammered before the wedding and went completely off script. One didn't even she left the speech in her room. She just was like, she had spent weeks and weeks writing this thing and just completely winged it, and it was just like, what the hell? But everyone else is, I mean, I've seen the videos, they're great. You know, it's I love it when I see it. The first time we saw it, we cried, you know. So.
On the entrepreneurial level here now, it would seem like logistically to make sense for you to incorporate yourself with every wedding planner on the planet. Is that kind of a strategy for you?
For sure. I mean, that is the strategy. That and venues. There are a lot of venues that have their own wedding packages, don't necessarily have a planner, but some of them are starting to incorporate us into their packages, so that's great. But yeah, wedding planners are the gatekeepers. We were very lucky to be featured in the New York Times at the end of 23. That was a huge boost to our business, and I think proof of concept, because once you expose this to enough people, there are people that are completely fine saying that they got help and know that this is something that gets better with an editor and a facilitator and a trainer, essentially. And it's like anything else. You can't depend on your own skills for everything. So.
Right. Do you have any experience writing comedy?
I do, actually. I had when I first started out as a writer in advertising, one of my first jobs was writing like dumb onion-like jokes for headlines for 6 months. So that's pretty much all I did was write puns and dumb jokes so yeah, I've had a long history of doing stuff like that.
So I'm thinking now probably a maid of honor would not want to be, but I'm almost certain that best man would probably be inclined to say, can you make this a little on the funny side? Yes.
I think most everybody wants it to be. When they come to me, I don't know why or how this gets out there or comes across, but usually they're coming because they want this thing to be lively in both directions. They want it to be really romantic, but they also want it to have some fun. And these don't have to be like killer jokes. These are a little bit of levity goes a long way as a counterbalance for, the onerous love stuff,
Yeah. So
now, do you have like a favorite go-to line? Yeah, I mean, because let's face it, there's some things that some lines are just so good in your head that you want to work it in as part of, almost like your signature, that you put it in on a regular basis, even if you don't use it every time.
Yeah, I don't know why this cracks me up, but like people always try and insert these quotes into their wedding ceremonies and these readings and whatnot, and I don't know where it came from, but at some point I quoted the philosopher Hugh Anthony Craig the third.
Good, because the second was terrible.
Who is yeah, no kidding, but who is actually Huey Lewis, and then I would and that's the power of love, and I'd go for something really dumb like that, but no, I try not to write. I really try not to repeat myself, even with a good line. I try and spread it out if I'm going to use it, because these are going on videos. People post it virally. I want to make I want to reserve the right to give it to them and then let them feel like it's theirs. That said, I think I have started to database the lines that I like, so that if I do get stuck on something, or there really is a good moment that I could reuse without violating that principle, I think I'd love to draw on it.
I'll say, because there's like a Bible thing. I think it's love is, and it goes like, love is kind, love is not jealous, love is not this. It's like 47 minutes, I think. It's very, very,
Sounds like something from the self-help section rather than the Bible.
It would bore me to tears, like I just,
that's what my wife did. My wife put that in her vows. Thank you very much. Yeah,
I mean, you also got people sitting in the audience that, maybe the sun's beating on them, or they just want to get to that cocktail. They've been driving. They might have fought in the car for all you know, right? And so you want to make this thing new and interesting and fun, and you want to give them some information about them as a couple, so they lean in a little bit. And if you do the same thing everybody's heard, then they're just going to be like, ready to either looking at their phone or whatever, and that's not what we want. We want.
Well, they could do it like with sound effects. So it's like, love is kind. Love is beautiful. Oh, still the little guy pushing buttons in the background, like boom,
it would
boom.
be fun. It would be fun to have like the officiant ready with like a little applause thing, just in case the joke, or a little laugh track, just in case the jokes don't fly. He could just,
I did a show one time, a live show from my old radio show. We did it from a club, and one of the guests brought his own laugh track.
Yeah,
I feel like GD's wedding would be like a circus. There'd be lasers, fog, laugh tracks, applause cards up in the corners.
I don't know if it's still on my. There we go. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear that, but I have it ready.
Wow, you brought your own laugh track and applause sign. Has there ever been a case where you just said to somebody, "Listen, I can't work with you"?
But it's usually followed by the check bouncing. I can't work. I can't work with this. This is a terrible check.
There have been instances where people don't believe I can, like, I've had one or two instances where I send a first draft, and I make sure to give all the caveats that this is a first draft. We can make whatever edits. I just need feedback. We can change the tone, do the whole thing, right? And then they just don't believe that you can change it. And they just, well, this doesn't sound like me, or that this has only happened a couple times, but it's like, this doesn't sound like me. I'm like, okay, well, tell me, what's wrong with it? Like, where does it go wrong? And sometimes it's one word that just throws them off. Oh, that's not me. And then you have to kind of walk them back, and that can be really frustrating, but we've always gotten there somehow. And look, if my job is if all I did was help you get closer to what you want, and you rewrite it on your own, fine. We've already been paid, but you can come back to us. But otherwise, if you'd rather take it from there and go with that structure, then great. Go for it.
You could also say, I understand you say you don't sound like this, but I've listened to you for like 90 minutes. You sound like this.
Oh yeah.
This is you.
I was just gonna say, like, you got in the original consultation, right? Do you record them, or like?
I do. Yeah, I record it, I transcribe it, and I've got all types of questions. Like things like, when you guys moved in together, what was something that you saw that they had that you're like, what the hell is that? Like, why? Right. What is something that your spouse wants to throw out right now?
I never
Things like
expected her to have a bigger penis than me.
Well, how are you guys in bed? Tell me more about how you're in bed, and what do you like?
Yeah.
No, we don't. We get into all of the.
Here we go then.
The fun stuff,
No, Rod, no, not again.
Yeah.
We're still paying off
how do they rank compared to past lovers? So no, we have a lot of fun with the questions, and it's the follow-up questions that really get you're like, whoa, come back here, tell me more about that, and that's where you get the good stuff.
See, my joke with my wife is, I don't care how many men you slept with in the past. I don't care. Only thing I want to know is if you laid all the penises end to end, how long would it be?
Not side to side. Yeah.
And how long would it be? Just so I know how many times I have to do it, so I can like out penis it. You know.
She's like, honey.
It's
She's like, honey, only 3 miles.
Just when I think they can't come up with any more anything more disturbing from a graphical picture, head picture image.
I found out recently that my wife married me because she thought I was funny, and I said, "Well, I thought you married me because I was good in bed." And she goes, "See, you're hilarious."
Now,
I wish I wrote that one. I don't know who did, but that was a great one.
You know, do you ever get PG, or do they request? Do you ever get a request for, we don't really want to keep this all that clean?
Yeah. I mean, look, this is ultimately theirs to do, whatever way they want to do it. I can try and influence that process if I really think that they're going down the wrong direction. I might reach out to the wedding planner and go, "Hey, just to let you know, this is happening, and this is, they're insisting, and just be prepared for it, and know that I didn't endorse it." But at the end, if you know your audience, and it's a 20-person wedding, and you want to make a joke, and this is the joke that you want to make, then what am I going to do? Right? It's your thing. But I've only had, most people just want to do a great job. It's the wedding party speakers that test the limit. And look, it's your best friend. You do it. You decide.
Yeah. It's just congratulations on coming up with a new business, because you know what?
Thank you.
I don't, it's always good to kind of see entrepreneurs who can spot a need that nobody else has tried to fill. And because that's my biggest problem. And I think with a lot of entrepreneurs, we talk about this all the time, is filling a need. Most people just get into a business because it's something they love and they're passionate about, but there's no demand for it. There's probably a much bigger demand for this kind of stuff, because I know a lot of guys just are not good with words, and there are women who are not good.
Or they just run out of time, right? And that's the other thing. It's like people get to a certain point, they think they can do it, and then they just start to run out of time, and they get a lot of anxiety, and you just need some help. But thank you. Yeah, look, I've done a lot of things in my life. I've had a few different acts, and this is by far my favorite. I did not think I was a miserable person at the end of my political consulting career, even though I was successful at it. I hated doing it, and I have found a new thing to do that gets me really excited to get out of bed every day, and I really truly enjoy it. And so it's a really, I never saw this. I would never have seen this coming. It's just I couldn't believe that this is happening the way it is, but it's just it's
before
fun.
we let you go now, vowsandspeeches.com, and send people there, and if you know people in the wedding planning business, share that information with them and let them know it exists, and the links in the description. Now, I'm not going to ask you necessarily to name names, but political consultants, did you ever have to write for somebody who was had a different worldview than you did?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, I didn't really have to write. The political consulting industry is such that you don't really, it's hard to be bipartisan. You either have to pick one side or another. And the times that you are bipartisan, it tends to be for like public affairs or a ballot amendment and things like that. And I've done a lot of those. But yeah, I mean, I've had clients that were complete megalomaniacs. I mean, people that you just did, even though they might have more or less been on the same page from a political standpoint, that they just saw the world much differently than I did, and it was very difficult. But at the same time, you convince yourself that, well, look, if they win, it's better than if the other side wins, right? It's still, it's still better. It's the devil, and the lesser of two evils and all that stuff. But
that's a very good description of where we are right now in America, right? I think a lot of people are.
It's tough, you push people that are imperfect, but you also have to ask yourself. And this is, I mean, look, I've had some wonderful, beautifully articulate and sweet and sensitive clients in politics, but also you have to ask yourself, like, why does anybody do this? Like, right? Like, they're people in my mind that that are just running themselves into a wood chipper. Right?
Yeah.
And so why is it for the adoration? Is it for the power? What is it behind their eyes that really drives them to do this? And it's not always the greatest thing. But on the other hand, as we talked about earlier, like I was a performer, I was a musician, it's that same, why did I need to get on stage? Right? It's like you want the applause. They just don't sing as well.
Well,
So,
I ran I ran for Congress in 2024.
Oh, did you?
And the reason I ran, I was trying to make a point about money in politics, and I was running a no money campaign. FCC just asked for my report, and I didn't take it. I didn't take any donations. I didn't spend any money, but I think I did prove a point in that you can't win. You can't even get a vote. I got one vote. So I did
and a lot of people go into it with really good intentions, and then they get there and they realize, hey, I've got to compromise some values for the sake of other ones, and and that's when over time it kind of weighs on your soul a little bit, and then they become lobbyists.
Yeah. So you're the guy who voted for me then.
I'm very happy not to have to make those kinds of calls anymore.
Well, we are grateful.
Have you ever had to write one or speak your vows that were put to music so that they were sung? Like pretty much a song. I've written. The reason why I ask is I've written music for someone who actually wrote their vows as a poem, and they wanted to sing their vows to their wife or to their bride, and so I wrote the music for them so that they could sing it to them. So I was wondering
I haven't had that situation. I mean, we've quoted song lyrics and things like that, like Springsteen, "You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right."
See, I would be really mischievous in your position. I would try to sneak in some really bad movie lines or stuff like that.
It's fun,
except for we know that Matt would be like almost every movie reference would be like a Godfather.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uncle Leone, I'm so grateful that you invited me to your daughter's wedding on the day of your daughter's wedding. That kind of
yeah. Look, anything that's fun, and like even dumb movie quotes and impressions, anything that can make a ceremony keep it moving and represents the spirit of them as a couple, because people are goofy, right? Like, just people are goofy, and if you're goofy, your ceremony should be a little goofy. So anything that keeps it fun.
Mine was. Well, we are very grateful that you've appeared on the show, despite the fact that I screwed up and sent you the wrong link or something.
I'm so thankful for this time, and it was fun to get to know you guys a little bit.
We hope some people will share this information. Vowsandspeeches.com. If you know somebody in the wedding planning business, definitely share that with them, please. And good luck, and thank you for giving us something unique and different to talk about here this morning. So
thanks again. Thanks for having me.
Have a great day. Bye for now. Brian Franklin, folks. How do I switch this back like this? Right? Oh, look at that.
Almost perfect.
Not almost perfect. Not even close.
That was 25% perfect.
Not even as far from perfect as you can possibly get. What's going on is, so interesting stuff. Now, nobody else getting that business. You should be the only guy in that business.
What you need to do now is get focused and stop pointing fingers.
I didn't make out one of those words. I need captions on those sound effects. What was that? What do you say? Oh, what do you say? What do you say? I'm getting a phone call. I mentioned this before. I had somebody on the program who was an author, and she was bragging about, and she got great reviews on her book, and I spent an hour talking to her about her book, and then 2 weeks later, I had a guy come on and say, I wrote the book for that guest you had 2 weeks ago. And I was like, what you wrote the book for? He was a ghostwriter. I feel like, the woman.
So was she doing offering his services?
She shouldn't be doing podcast interviews talking about her writing experience and how fun it was and all that stuff. I'm asking her a typical author question. She had nothing to do with it. She did an interview with the guy and he wrote the book and she put her name on it.
We have hissy sounds in the back.
What do you mean?
Hissy, I hear hissy.
Ron's microphone got really sensitive all of a sudden. It's picking up his clicks and everything.
His dick is hitting it. Every time I talk, his dick gets hard and it hits the microphone.
He's hitting zipper. Aw.
I must be the Monopoly guy with the big cock.
Finish inside me.
All right. What do you got to say? Anything?
Nothing. I'm starving.
You're starving?
I'm so fucking hungry.
Why? You know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
I don't generally eat breakfast until after lunch.
Well, that's why you're mixed up. No wonder nobody likes you.
It has nothing to do with people
me.
don't like me.
I'm thinking of me. I mean, that's no wonder nobody likes me. All right. You want to be that way? I don't know. We basically shot our load too early on this program, didn't we?
I don't know. I'm just hungry.
So go get something to eat. Nobody's holding you here. You're not in chains.
No, I'm trying to wait.
I'll be the best chef for the black breakfast.
Whoa.
I'll be the best chef for the black. Well, whatever. All right, fuck you guys. I got things to do. I can get out of here. I don't need to be here. You think I need this kind of abuse?
Yes.
I thought you just liked it.
All right. Brian Franklin, vowsandspeeches.com. Now I'm going to start speechesandvows.com just to fuck with them.
And see, now I thought it was Val Sans Peaches.
Peaches?
Peaches, yeah.
Vows and peaches?
I thought it was
All
Sans
right.
plural. Val.
Especially with February being President's Month, not Black History Month anymore. Trump has made it so it's not Black History Month or any of that kind of stuff. So it's President's Month, right?
Months aren't designated by federal policy anyway. I don't even know who makes that up. Who declares months or these things? Because it's only 12 months, and so you're going to be like sharing months with other people.
But I thought maybe we could, as a show of unity here, we could sing the song from the Presidents of the USA. Peaches for nothing, peaches for free. Well, I'm sorry.
Millions of peaches. Peaches
Millions
for me.
Yeah, peaches for me, yeah. No, we can't do that. Steven's with me. I got the first grip with me. So basically, you can fuck you in the show. That's what you're saying to me right now.
It's like when my wife got married. We got married on the beach, and
I got married.
When the ceremony was over with, I scooped up the sand underneath her feet were, and underneath my feet, and I put it in a baggie, and I still have that bag of sand from where we were standing on the beach.
What a weird way to say you have a foot fetish,
You're a
man.
weird fucking dude. Did anybody ever tell you that you're a weird fucking dude?
Really?
That's super
It's weird to have the sand from the beach where you were standing to get married.
It's very weird.
I mean, maybe in like a decorative jar or something, but you just have a bag of sand.
Right. Well, we never got the jar. Because it's still in the baggie, you know.
Yeah.
I still have the dog shit I stepped in the day I won a bet against the Philadelphia Eagles. Or Giants would beat the Eagles.
I still have the towel that I wiped my wife off with on our honeymoon.
Right.
No, but if my wife dies first, I'm taking half of the sand and putting it in her urn with her ashes.
And then what? Gonna turn her into a mirror?
No, we're turning her into like a little house for a decorative thing to go on the coral reef, so that fish and stuff can live in there.
Well, if I have anything to say about it, she won't die first.
Does your wife know that you're planning on killing her?
Yeah.
No, she knows I wouldn't do that, and I'm just that's just a plan for when she dies. If she dies first,
She won't die
That's all a
first.
relationship is the trust that your partner won't kill you in your sleep.
She won't die first unless she does it in the next hour or so, because I'm on my way to Maryland now.
He's gotta run some errands in Maryland.
Yeah, there's a company that will take the ashes and turn it into like a little concrete thing, and so she's going to be put on the coral reef so that she'll be part of the thing that she loves.
Did you guys see the video of the chick at the Juggalo, the gathering of the Juggalos? And it's this big fat chick in a power chair, and she's riding around with this glass dildo, and it's got the ashes of her husband in it. And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I still sleep with him." She goes, "But I've been sprinkling his ashes little by little all over the park." And I'm just like, what? It's just this crusty looking glass dildo.
I think you sent that link to me.
I think I did. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, don't do that again.
Yeah, no, see, you should do what I do. When Steven sends something, I just delete it.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't say what the links are. So quite often when I always assume it's a stand-up set of his, and so I open it to be supportive of him and his comedy, but it's never him. It's always something that would make my eyes hurt.
And if I click on it, it's trying to like impress Ron, and I'm like, I'm scared. I'm honestly scared, so I won't look at it. I don't want my browser history showing anything that they watch.
My algorithm is mostly since I've reset it. Since I've reset it, it's mostly just like big tits and big asses bouncing. It's really weird.
Exactly what I don't want.
Yeah, but who needs to see men with big tits and asses bouncing?
The internet.
Well, that was a thought that I had when Brian was on. Is there's probably, if you could, there's probably a TikTok market for things gone wrong at weddings, right? That's probably a good niche to have it if you're doing a TikTok channel. Or am I wrong? Weddings is there. Weddings gone wrong. All right, I'm going to say the words. Watch my lips, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow we have a show. I don't know who's going to be on. I have a show tonight with Annie Corzin, who is a TikTok star, 86-year-old TikTok star. She's not showing her big flat. I think her tits are probably in the sand that PD got. Anyway, so that's what 8 o'clock tonight. I'll be doing that. Until then.
Oh, hey, Matt.
What's going on with Ron's mic? Until then, don't forget to
turn on your radio.
Do it.
Finish inside me. Finish inside me.
God's coming for you!
That's what I call schlong division.
Are you a retard?
me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me.